home to from the hospital will already change their potential outcomes. A student who grows up in a low-income community has only a 50% likelihood of graduating from high school in the first place. And then those high school graduates who grew up in low-income communities have only a 14% chance of graduating from college in 6 years. So those are not average figures for our nation. Those are just figures for children growing up in those low-income zip codes. And so Teach for America really wants to give those 16 million kids growing up in poverty in the US a more fair chance, because when they came home from the hospital to that zip code, they were entirely innocent and deserved the same opportunities as everyone else. So again, Teach for America wants to redefine what is possible for children who right now are not getting the same fair chances. And the way that Teach for America intends to go about creating this change, there's kind of two pieces. First of all, part of creating change is being really close, and we would say proximate to the issues, really working firsthand to help make change directly for individuals. But then the second piece is working at a much broader scale, working at the systemic scale throughout the US. I often say that the differences in education, the different outcomes for students aren't caused by teachers. Teachers in classrooms are all working really hard for their students. They're really passionate about their kids. This isn't a teacher problem. It's a much bigger problem throughout the US. It's a really systemic problem. So we need people in all aspects of society who understand about educational inequity and who little by little in their own fields are working to help make our society more equitable. And it's in all areas too, not just education. They're all so intertwined. Education, immigration, LGBTQ rights, healthcare, all of these current systems are inequitable and they're all tied together. And we need people in all these different areas working together if we ever hope that education will be fair for all students. So it's both the micro, close, proximate level, and then the bigger systems change level that Teach for America is working to address. So like I had said, ultimately, this is a system level problem, and we are working to change it at that level, not just in classrooms. And so to do this, we are bringing in a really mixed group of people. I had said just at the start that about 20% of those who join Teach for America do have some education background in college. There's a lot of people who don't. You can also see here, we just have a huge number, 720 or more universities and colleges throughout the US that have had alums join Teach for America. We do support a large number of students, for first generation college students. And so we also want to have a large number of our teachers be first generation college students. So they have that shared background with their students. 1 in 3 are the first to graduate from college within Teach for America. And nearly 50% of those who've joined Teach for America do identify as people of color. That is a greater percentage than the general national average of all of the teaching force, although it's still a work in progress. While Teach for America really values bringing in people of color into our force, we recognize that 50% is not the representation of students of color. That percentage is much higher for students. And so we continue working to make our teacher population match our student background and the student population as well. Because research really does show that students learn best if they have some shared background with their teachers. So I had mentioned that Teach for America is working through those two components, both that being close and really proximate and working directly with students to impact some individual students and their families directly, and then the systems change as well. And so that that close time, that proximate work, your first 2 years with Teach for America, you are committed to teaching in a classroom of students. We teach students from pre-K through 12th grade. And again, your commitment is 2 years to be working at a school. You're fully hired by the school. You have, with Teach for America's support, earn your full teaching certificate. So you're a fully credentialed teacher hired by the school. You get their salary and benefits, and 2 years is your commitment there. But it is a really impactful 2 years. Teach for America provides all the training and support you need to be a successful teacher. And you really learn from your students what are some of the challenges they face. You get to interact with their families and understand what are some of the barriers that their families face, and you really gain an understanding of the issues in education. So whether or not you stay in education and continue working with students, or whether you're one of those people who goes and starts working at that systems level and addressing systems change in a career after teaching. So whether you maybe go into medicine or immigration law or one of those fields, either way, you've still got that firsthand experience working with students that is always in your memory and always will inform what you do afterwards. So that's a key piece of how Teach for America works. It's getting that really close proximate experience first, and then being able to continue working towards that broader systemic change. This is a little timeline of how it all happens over 2 years and beyond. So first, someone who's joining Teach for America, once you've accepted your offer to join us, there's onboarding in the region that you will serve. We place teachers in 51 regions throughout the United States. And so you'll be there with a group of other new teachers. And everybody will go through an onboarding together. And there is some independent work to get you started, learning about education and educational inequity. There's a regional induction, and then summer training. Summer training is in your region. And it's your opportunity, number one, to start interacting with children in that region where you'll be teaching for 2 years. Your pre-service summer training is a very supported summer school, if you will. So you will have 5 weeks actually working with children, and Teach for America during that time provides all of the training and learning you need to be a successful teacher. It's very supported during the summer. It's learning while doing. So you'll learn about best practices in classroom management, and then you'll get to try it the very next week with your students as you start your classroom. You'll learn about best practices and assessment, and then you'll get to try it the very next day when you give your students their first mini assessment. So again, very much learning by doing, and really heavy support through the summer. There's a lot of former Teach for America teachers who go back in the summers to help support our new core members in that training. And then the next point on this slide, on the top there, the coaching, professional development, and support during the core is really important too. Your 2 years teaching, you in no way are left alone. You have a coach who works with you through those entire 2 years. And the first 3 months that you're teaching is really intensive coaching support to make sure that you start everything well in your first classroom, and really can kick things off successfully with your first classroom students. And again, that coaching continues for the full 2 years. There's other professional development and some work with the university in your region. And that not only helps ensure that you get adequate teacher training, but also that you get any university coursework you need to become a fully certified teacher in that state. That first year that you're teaching, you do get your full teacher certification. Teach for America has that all set up. And then the very last point of this timeline actually should be like the largest piece of the timeline, because after your 2 years in the classroom, you're considered an alum with Teach for America. And 50% of our alums do continue teaching after 2 years. So that is absolutely one route that alums can go, continue in the classroom, continue in school leadership, other things really closely related to students and education. But then that leaves another group of our alums who, like I mentioned before, can go off into all of these different fields, and they continue to receive support from Teach for America. If they're going into medicine, Teach for America has partnerships with med schools and can help them get into med school, and then has partnerships with medical systems and can help them get those jobs. Same way, Teach for America has partnerships with business organizations like Deloitte. So if people go back into consulting, Teach for America can help them get placed into those careers, and then maybe their consulting group would focus on education-related businesses or something like that. But again, Teach for America does not only support those who are in the school, in classrooms, in education. They support everyone after the 2-year teaching commitment. So what could this potentially look like for you? Well, just looking from examples from the past, Forbes releases, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but a 30 under 30 list. So people who before 30 years old have already done really amazing things in our nation. And 52 of those on the 30 under 30 list currently are Teach for America alums. We have 205 elected officials throughout the US. So again, they did their first 2 years teaching and then moved into office where they can continue to shape educational policy and other policies that support children. We have a lot of social entrepreneurs, even more people who maybe aren't elected but are out working for policy and advocacy and organizing groups in our country. We do still have a lot of school and system leaders, systems meaning like school districts and charter networks, things like that, and still have a lot of teachers out there, 13,800 who have stayed in teaching. Again, just some more examples, people who have gone on consulting for Deloitte, people have gone back to law school and become attorneys. People have gone into kind of nonprofit organizations, Latino Center for Leadership Development. And then we have medical professionals very often as well. I'd mentioned that Teach for America has some grad school partnerships. So after 2 years teaching, or maybe 5 years teaching, or maybe 7 years teaching, if you were interested in going back into a different or related field, Teach for America has these different partnerships with universities, again, to help you get placed into their programs. And sometimes there's kind of a financial discount to attend these programs that we have partnerships with as well. Just some of the employers who we partner with, and they do recognize that Teach for America alums are strong leaders. They have strong organizational skills. They have strong communication and interaction skills working with diverse people. And so if you've spent time with Teach for America, it's seen as a very promising piece of your job application. 15% of those who apply to Teach for America are accepted. So it is a ultimately selective program. We have a high bar for joining. Like I had said, I was going to be going over Teach for America very broadly. That's really a big picture about what we do. So I would love to hear any questions you have, because that'll probably help us zoom into some of the details that I skimmed over, but that might be very important if you're interested in certain aspects of this. So feel free to drop in chat or come right off mute and ask any questions you have.
I had a question and then I just forgot it, so I'm trying to think of it again. We'll be there.
No problem. Phil, come back.
This is super broad, but like, how do you, and I'm sorry if you mentioned it, but like, how do you like get involved with it if you are interested? Like, what are like the next steps, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. let me put a few things into the chat here for us. The first one is a contact form. And for me as a Teach for America staff member, I'm working to make sure that what I do is equitable also. So I really appreciate if everyone could fill out this contact form just to provide your name, your university majors. That helps me take a look back later and make sure that I'm reaching out to a variety of universities, a variety of majors, people of a variety of backgrounds, and really doing equitable work in that way. Also on that form is a place to check if you would like more information. You can check if you would like to meet one-on-one and talk further. We can, one of the options is for us to send you more information, or other options are just if you would like to get more information by email, things like that. So there's some different options there to hear more and be able to have kind of more conversations, if you will. And I'm also going to drop in here just a few more tools you can use. If you just want to talk with me further, my Calendly there has some openings coming up in the next couple of weeks. Definitely feel free to sign up for a time and we can talk more personally. I can tell you a little bit more about kind of my own experiences going through the core. I can tell you more about those details of what application processes look like, what your actual time teaching in a region looks like, how you get to pick your region and your grade level and subject, things like that. And then my email's here too. Can certainly feel free to send me a quick email. And then our website's teachforamerica.org. So pretty easy breezy to remember to see more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I remembered my question, but you answered it while you were talking then. So we're all good.
Awesome.
Molly, would you mind touching on some more details about like it being part of AmeriCorps kind of, and how it can help? I know you touched about like getting into like med school and things like that, but just grad school in general, that there are like specific colleges and universities that kind of accept this tuition
Yeah, absolutely.
deferment, or the deferment for 2 years and whatnot, if they want to do that.
Yeah. So a lot of people know of Peace Corps, and then there's AmeriCorps, which is a service organization for the United States, and Teach for America actually falls under the AmeriCorps umbrella. So when you are working with Teach for America, your 2 years in the classroom, you are technically a part of AmeriCorps, which means the primary thing it means is that you get an education award each of those 2 years. So currently it's $5,500, and that is to be used towards higher and continuing education. So one option Teach for America has during your second year teaching, if you're feeling like, yes, education is my path, I'm going to be staying in this field, and you want to continue working with your university partner in that region, you can earn your master's in teaching your second year, utilizing that AmeriCorps award. But if you choose to do something a little different, you can keep that. It's ultimately $11,000 and use it in different ways. I, in part, was able to use mine when I decided to go into educational leadership, to go back to DePaul University and take the coursework needed to get my principal's license. Other people might choose to use that AmeriCorps award to go back to med school. And again, Teach for America has some partnerships with different med school programs that could be options as you're applying to med schools and getting placed. Or you could use it to go back to law school if you want to go into policy. And again, Teach for America has some partnerships with different law programs. And again, you can use that $11,000 towards your next education there. You could use it towards a master's in social work. You could use it to go back and get your MBA. You could use it to go into like a master's in English, which could then help you become a dual credit English teacher at a like high school, college level or something like that. So there's lots of options, but you have that education award that you get to take with you after Teach for America, if you will. Did that get to everything you had in mind, Kendra?
Yeah, the only other thing, is there an option still where it's, you can defer, like if you got accepted to grad school, you can defer up to 2 years while you're serving for, with Teach for America, but you still basically hold your place in grad school? Is that still?
Yes.
Okay.
There is that option both for graduate schools and also things like the Fulbright scholarship opportunities like that often those interested in Teach for America, those who have been really involved on campus, have those leadership skills, or are interested in education, are also looking into programs, you know, like Fulbright, other big scholarship programs, grad school.
Thank you.